And so then this is the Historic Commission meeting of February 23rd, 2026. And we're just doing that. We don't have a quorum for the district commission. I don't think. Maybe we do.
Yeah,
Oh, I guess we do because Debbie's on it, right?
Yes.
All right, then I guess it's both of them. All right, so I don't believe there were any minutes. I don't believe there's any new projects for the historic district. We did get a whole bunch of building permits. They're doing the fire alarm at the housing authority, which technically is in the district, but it's interior work. That's the only thing that's come through. So then I think it's mainly historic. It's to discuss preservation restrictions on Amadon Inn, Only Cook, and the police station. So I don't know, Kathy, if you've done any more. I guess, so for Only Cook, I don't know about Only Cook. For the police station, we use CPA funds, and so we're supposed to go back and put a preservation restriction on that, and I don't think that was done. So I think we don't really have a choice, and I guess it would just be on the portions of the building that are still historic. So mainly like the brick that remains and like that front area. And I think it's really the exterior. I don't think there's anything interior remaining. Only Cook is town owned, and I think Ann just sent an email. That's on the National Register, but it doesn't have a preservation restriction. Does that sound right, Kathy?
Yes, it is on the National Register. Which I need to do some more research and see if that automatically puts a preservation restriction on it. So I did not check that yet.
I don't think it does, because that was my understanding, is that the state and National Register are just their meeting list. It's just a fancy piece of paper. It does no protection. It has no power.
Oh, don't say that publicly, Dan.
Well, it has power that it can be used to reference other things, but I don't think it comes with anything other than like eligibility for grants and things.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I don't think there's a requirement right now for Only Cook unless we're going to spend CPA funds. But it probably, so for context, the preservation restriction is similar to a conservation restriction, that it puts protections on the building so you can't come in and renovate it and stuff without permission of whoever holds it. And because we own it, we can't hold the restriction on either of those two. So I think the question is, would the Historic Society be interested or another entity?
So we did discuss it at our meeting last week.
Yeah.
We did not confirm whether or not we didn't approve any action. The only action that they would consider would be the Only Cook shop. They don't feel that the police station is in their purview.
I mean, I think, unfortunately, it's whoever holds the restriction needs to be the one who enforces it. So
right.
Town doesn't have the best track record of doing right by its historic buildings in its custody.
No, you don't say.
No, and I think that's, that hiccup was really the driving factor to not offering to do the police station, just because, there has to be an agreement. And so far we haven't been able to reach one.
Yeah. So it sounds like Only Cook, I think, is easy, and basically you just take whatever's in the National Register and write up a document.
Yep.
So at least if they're willing to hold that one, my suggestion would be to put it on the town meeting. I think town meeting has to authorize us to grant the restriction or something like that. I gotta read the exact language. And then the third one is Amadon Inn, which is privately held. So the town of Mendon, like us, the Historic Commission, could hold that restriction. But again, are we prepared to then enforce it against a private developer?
Does anyone have any thoughts on that?
Does the society want it? Did they talk about that one?
I believe that they would consider it. I think it has to be up to the homeowner, which avenue she prefer to take.
Yeah. Has anyone, I know, I don't know, I saw Jane the other week. Have they found out currently if the state would take that one given its historic value? I know she talked to somebody a while ago, but I don't, it may have been recent.
Yeah,
If they said they didn't want any more.
I mean, the whole process is kind of slowed because of the snow. So
Yeah.
Philip Borabas, who did the evaluation of the cook shop and Norman's house, is due to come in and take a look and write up the preservation restriction with her. So right now it's in a holding pattern. So I don't know that she will have anything ready for the spring.
Yeah,
We may
that's
have,
fine. I just if the town in that case, if the town is going to accept it, I think we also have to go to town meeting to
right,
like to take it. I have to double check on that, but just I mean it's not we can do it again at another meeting.
yeah, I'm wondering if November is still okay to do, the SDM, just because it's not, something catastrophic that, has to have a lot of input.
Yeah, I think it just needs to happen before that, in particular before that property is transferred.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know what her plans are, but I think that would be the time to do it.
yeah.
Um, and then can we, is it worth finding out if this person could also write up the preservation restriction for only cook? And, if that's going to cost us a couple $1,000s, I think that's money absolutely well spent. Or even write the preservation restriction for the police station so we have the document and then we can plug in whoever holds it.
Yeah, I mean, we can certainly ask Philip if he's interested. It might be too much. I think he's retired, so
Okay.
he may not be, but the preservation for the cook shop, um, all of the research was done for the National Historic Register. So that is really just transferring information. I don't know if we have to have an architect, a historic architect sign off on it.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know in general, the best path forward is to be able to have a fairly completed document to bring to council. If we expect council to draft it, we'll be waiting 10 years.
Right, right. So
So
I think
even if we
what
have
we
to spend
could
our own
do,
money,
we could ask the gentleman that did the Only Cook nomination if he would go ahead and move forward with that. And I'll get a price from him. I don't even remember what his name was.
yeah, that would be because I think Ann was asking, and I think that's a no-brainer to ask them to set aside a couple $1,000s at town meeting for this research.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's just one more thing that we don't have time for. That would be great. So that I guess that covers those unless I missed something.
The Cox property, but
Oh, who
I
owns COTS? It's private, right?
it's privately owned, yeah. And it never went through. The preservation restriction never went through. So I talked to Jane a little bit about should we maybe consider a historic district now that the building has been in many ways saved. And she's gonna talk to Peter Coffin about that first.
Okay, I think we're probably too late for May for a district over there. But that might make sense to just nominate as a single house district.
Yeah,
And that's one that could be done in November because it's one property. He can stand up and say, this is with my consent or whatever.
sure.
It's not like a big
Absolutely.
sweeping change. I think that might because we didn't spend any CPA money on that property, right?
I think we did we spend CPA money to empty it out? I think we did.
I
We had a
don't hear.
couple of bills of,
Which property?
or was that town money? That might have been town money that helped
COTS.
to dump out all that stuff that we pulled out of the house.
I don't see it. I'll have to. Oh, Cox House Preservation, $7,000 to cut off a house lot, put a restriction on the house, proceeds from the sale reimbursed. So it sounds like this is in progress and it was authorized. We just need to do it.
Yeah, and Dan, is that CPA funds?
This
Or
was,
that-
yeah, we set aside money for the work. So maybe I just saw Ann's email, so I can reply to her and find out what the status of it. So if there's something in progress, we should get it finished.
Okay, all right, that sounds good.
My guess is if we spent CPA funds, we need to put a preservation restriction regardless of what we also do with the district.
Yes,
I think that's what Ann was kind of working through with some of these properties and making sure we've done all the things we were supposed to do.
yeah,
I don't know. All right, we'll have to find out more about that one. All right.
so
So
I
then
will,
there's, sorry.
oh, I was gonna say, I will get a definitive answer from the Historical Society on holding the preservation restrictions.
Yeah, see what
Thank
they
you.
think about Cox and Only Cook. I think those are the two that are maybe low impact. I don't know.
Right, all right, so yeah, we could, I'll have them draft a letter.
I mean, I guess I'm not opposed to the town holding either of them either. It might make more sense to have them take them. Especially, Amadon is the big one.
Right. Okay,
And then I guess I'll have to research what our options are for the police station and who might potentially be able to hold that restriction. I really don't know.
the brothers can hold it.
They're not a
But-
nonprofit.
Uh,
They don't need,
They're not a nonprofit, okay.
Yeah, we're not a nothing.
I don't think they want to exist in the sense that they would need to exist to hold something like that, put it that way.
True,
That's
true.
I think they like their kind of behind the scenes thing.
And that's not a they, that's an us.
True, yeah. Part of it.
Disconnected himself.
Because I haven't been to a lot of stuff. So I think
Come on, once a brother, always a brother.
that so next is the piano. So I put it in my email, but just to recap, there's an old piano that's in the senior center that belonged to the Grange. They don't use it. They actually have another piano that they use. They're looking to free up the space because they have limited space over there. It's as an instrument, it's worthless. It's nothing special. It's for a 1926 Lexington brand piano. The question is if it has any historic value. We could just bring it over to town hall and shove it in a corner, but maybe it's just time to let it go. But I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts on it. I mean, it honestly may not even be cost effective to dispose of it. We're probably looking for, unless somebody decides they want to take it, probably going to cost almost
Dan,
$1,000.
I'm thinking you might have some room in that office.
I said that to my father. I'm tempted.
How does it
Uh,
sound?
Like a
Cool.
horribly out of tune honky tonk piano.
That's kind of how I pictured it.
What happens is the parts wear out, and so they don't hold their pitch. So
Yeah.
like you could have somebody come out and tune it, and then 3 days later it would go flat again.
Oh.
It has to be completely rebuilt, but the cost to rebuild it far exceeds its value because it's not like a super high end piano. They were kind of commodity items at the time.
Oh,
It's like a no name brand that's been bought out.
yeah, I've never heard of it. Not a player piano though, huh?
No,
Who wants a player piano?
My neighbors used to have one in New Jersey. Thought it was
Ah,
fascinating when I was a kid.
oh, yeah. Yeah. They were great.
Yeah,
Problem is nobody can work on them.
oh, I bet.
They
That's
stop
true.
working.
I haven't seen one in years.
Um, I did ask the library, but he doesn't have room either. I mean, and then I guess it ties into the other thing Kathy brought up that I guess can go under 48 hours is the weights and measures. And we've talked about it before, and just having it getting the money to have it professionally moved over to town hall where it's actually visible instead of stuck in the museum building where no one
Dan, do
sees
you
it.
have those, do you have those pictures? I don't think these guys have ever seen the weights and measures.
Yeah, hang on. And that one I think is worthy of display, and I can follow up with Jeremy on what that potentially would look like. Let me find one that shows the actual thing. This would cooperate. There.
So these were issued to every town. Every town had to have their own weights and measure cabinet. And this is ours. And it was given to the Historical Society by the town of Mendon. And I think it would be really nice to have it on display. It's quite beautiful. I've seen others that have been painted over and kind of butchered along the way, but this has all its original labeling. So I think it would be really cool to share so people can see it.
How far back is that?
It's been sitting in the museum, the old museum, since I think since it opened. But we'd really like to see it on display so people can actually enjoy it.
Yeah, Rich, I just put this up. Says lower cabinet was altered by someone prior to 1932. And
Yep.
issued. I don't know if that was when it was made or issued in 1848. So
I
I'm
believe
thinking
it was
around that
issued.
time frame. And it's got all sorts of stuff in there. There's all sorts of like measurements, and somewhere in there, there's like the seals they had to place. I think there's old dog tags in there. There's big like liquid measuring things that are on the ground next to it.
So you think we've had this since what date, Dan?
This says issued by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, made for the town of Mendon by Howard Davis of Boston, 1848. And then it references it being altered in 1930. Last sealer was in the 60s. I'm assuming it dates to the like 1850s then. We'd have to research it further.
So the reason I'm asking is because right out in front of the one Maple building, right? The big red building.
Yeah.
When the trolley came by, there was the hay scale was there.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious as to whether or not those weights and measures were in use with that hay scale.
No, these were for smaller items, these weights and measures.
Oh, I got you.
The
Was that hay scale private?
no, it was
No.
owned by the town.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Interesting.
And it looks quite different. It's outside. I have a picture of what it would have looked like.
Yeah, well, there's a picture of what it did look like somewhere.
But I think the difficulty in moving this, like, I don't know what you do. Like, maybe this can be somewhat taken apart and stabilized.
Yeah, I mean,
There's
all
assembly
those
in here.
pieces, all those pieces, Dan, come out except for the scale. So I think if you can secure the scale so it doesn't shift around too much, I think it'll be fine. I mean, some of those weights that are in the bottom of the cabinet weigh a ton.
If you say it's like a pound, yeah, that stuff they could just pull and wrap up. It's this
Oh, yeah.
scale assembly that I think, I feel like it's part of the cabinet from what I remember. It goes down
It
into
is.
the cabinet.
Yeah, I think it's screwed into the cabinet. So, I mean, I don't think the wood, well, I shouldn't state that the wood is not heavy, but Like I said, I think if you just secure the base of the scales, even, I don't know, taping them down or something, not with duct tape. I think
know.
that should be fine.
We'll have to find somebody that specializes in this to give us, like, I know some movers, but I don't know if they specialize, like you said, like a piano mover or somebody.
Yeah. I just took a picture of a piano mover's truck the other day, so I will give them a call, see if they'll come out and take a look at it.
Well, Bushel is the one that I've heard recommended quite a bit.
Bushel?
Bushel, piano movers. I mean, I know I've dealt with Gallo and Milford, but I know they're a general moving company. I don't know if they do historic stuff,
Yeah.
like the full, you know.
I'm gonna go.
'Cause honestly,
I think
the way I would-
a little bit, but I'll be a while before I'm ready, but I'll need.
I would, I'd probably pay some money and hire somebody to just handle this for us instead of us trying to. Because I think this is something we could put on the Maytown meeting if we can get a quote and bring it to CPA. I can't imagine it's, you know, it's not going to be $20,000. She's still muted. So I think if we just get some quotes on it, and then the piano, I guess maybe find out from the society or if anybody thinks it has any historic value, or I'm thinking probably we'll end up moving it over to town hall to get it out of Amy's way. And then see if, you know, if not, the town's gonna have to figure out a way to dispose of it or declare it surplus and see if someone will take it.
Yeah, you know, it would be nice if somebody would take it if it was offered for free. I just, because it doesn't have any, I mean, it has a historic connection to the Grange, but like you said, it's a low end model. It's, you know, there's really nowhere to put it. And because we do have a surplus of pianos in town, I know the church has one. Who else has one? I don't know.
I don't know what they
the,
have at the church, but you know, it has no value as an instrument really, unless somebody wants to invest a fortune into rebuilding it.
right. Right. So you know, do you want me to make a motion?
No, you can't.
Oh, that's right. Never mind.
Yeah, no, I don't know if we necessarily need to decide immediately. I just,
How does everyone else feel about that?
I think you should give it away to somebody. If anybody
I
wants.
agree.
All right.
Yeah. If anybody, you can find somebody who wants it.
I mean, let me find out from Jeremy what if that's a thing they can, if they declare it as surplus, can they do that and say, you know, it's free, you pay to move it kind of situation,
Right.
which is
And I
what you do
wondered,
if you have one yourself. Maybe somebody out there really wants it.
and maybe where it was a donated gift, maybe we don't have to go through those hoops.
Well, I think as long as the value, I believe under a certain amount, the select board just vote.
Okay. All right.
That's right.
It's either $200 or $2,000. I don't remember which. Because I don't know. My father thought it was in the old fire station, and he thought maybe that Jack DeLuca was part of the Grange. The plaque on it seems to indicate that it was in the town hall.
Yeah.
She's also
I wouldn't be surprised.
she's got a little table too that has a little plaque on it that says the Grange, which is kind of weird that somebody went and made up all those plaques, but
Maybe so no one would run off with it.
yeah. I guess that's that. The next thing on that I had put this in the email. She has that table. If they end up having that modified, that's not something we're overly concerned about, or are we?
No, I don't have any concerns.
In my suggestion, I said just put it up on some bed risers, but I think they wanted something a little nicer, but could have somebody redo the legs so they're longer.
Dan, did you send out a picture of that, of the
I
table?
did. Give me a second. I'll pull it up. Is this it? I don't know if I had a good picture. You wouldn't even know it because it's the table that's where they have all the coffee on. So that's that with the little plaque. And that's another picture of the leg. It's right outside the kitchen and senior center. So it's just a little wood table. Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, Dan, there's no markings or anything as to who
Just-
manufactured it. I'm guessing.
I didn't climb under it. I could do that. The issue is it's too low. They were using it as a coffee table and it doesn't meet the ADA standard.
Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty generic. I don't see why they can't modify it.
Hang on, I took a picture of the leg that I didn't share. I don't know if it has more. Let me just look at my phone and see if it had more detail. I already get rid of it. All right, I don't know where I put it, but maybe it's on this computer. Hang on a second. No. 2026 folder. Hey. Yeah, it doesn't give you much information, but
Yeah,
I can
I
look and
mean,
see
there
if there's any
isn't
sort of
much
mark
that
on.
construction-wise, it doesn't really look like it's not dovetailed. It's, nothing
Yeah.
particularly fancy.
I mean, they haven't even gotten the results back, so of this report. So again, it's not an immediate issue.
Yeah,
All right. The next thing on the agenda was the 11 Cape Road. Did you all see the response we got from John?
I did. I'm
Yeah.
infuriated.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and I'll give him credit. He has been good about trying to send things our way when they need to be, which is better than things have been in years past.
So Dan, I'm wondering if we should send them a letter and explain the circumstances and let them know that this is under review by town council, that the actions are under review by town council. I mean, I really think that we have to pull them in and talk to them. We need to know
Yeah.
why they took it down. And
That's
we
kind
also
of
need,
what I'm thinking too. Send them a letter, basically, and they need to come to a meeting, discuss what happened, and the letter, potentially the letter is threatening the full, massive fine or some level of fine, or just make them aware of the option to assess a fine and see what they have
Right.
to say. The thing is, if they show up with a lawyer, we need to make sure our town council is there.
right. I mean, I just, I'm very nervous because it wasn't privately owned, that they need to make sure that they're following the rules that everybody else does.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense because they would have gotten that same letter.
They did.
The house was in decent shape. I don't know about I never went in that barn building, but it seemed like it was fine.
Right.
And
And I think at this point, it might be a good idea to send the assessor in there to evaluate the condition of the house, or the building inspector. Because I don't want to run into this with the house either.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the assessor, it's tax exempt, so
Oh, that,
They
yeah,
own-
but do we still do?
they own the house.
Yeah, but maybe Erickson can go in
As
there and just
evaluation.
evaluate the house and explain
Yeah, I
to
don't
them
know. I
that
don't know what he can do.
maybe he needs to, send them a letter in addition that any work that they do on any of those buildings requires permitting.
Um, I mean, I would think they should attempt to bill them for the permit fee that we didn't collect. I know in other towns, if you don't get a permit, it's double,
Right, right.
and they make you rip out the work, which isn't really an option in this case.
No.
But I guess we need to follow up. But then all the budget stuff is going on, so I guess we'll have to try and work on this.
All right. I started drafting a letter and I will share it with everybody. Just ask them to come in and explain what happened. That they were invited to that hearing. They didn't show up. They were given the opportunity to call us at any time and schedule one, and we didn't get a response.
Right.
So they had to have been aware that it is historically significant.
Um, yeah, and I don't understand what was the point, because there doesn't seem to be anything there. Like
No,
maybe a
there
little more
isn't.
parking and that's it.
And I think I'd like to ask them for any photographs that they have of the interior or exterior or both.
I want to look again and see. Because it was, oh no, it was this. Sorry, I'm looking on the satellite view just to remind myself of what. That's right, they haven't even done those. Yeah, they tore down the front, but not the little garage behind it.
Right, right.
Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
I mean, it had a chimney in it. It was historically significant. It had 12 over 12 windows. And there's a very good chance that it was probably, a farmhand that lived there, or, they operated a shop. And it's just unfortunate to lose that little building.
Yeah. Um,
All right, so I'll work on this letter and then send it out to everybody and take suggestions if anybody has any.
yeah, I think that's a good idea, and then we can forward it to council. And again, I think if we can send her a draft and have her sign off on it, that's much quicker than relying on them to draft something.
Okay, and then if you can ask John
And then
if
I
he's
can-
got a next step on that, that would be great.
I should see him tomorrow night, so I can try and ask him if he found out any more or what the deal is.
Okay,
And then the last thing on there was the record room. I think I put you on the email. Oh, he did reply to both of us. So Brennan said the pricing is, maybe he didn't put you on his reply. The pricing is still the same that we got from Brennan. So I think as soon as he can get up there, he can do the work. The only question is with the gutters. I think we need to go to the state because of the preservation restriction,
right.
because that's exterior. And I don't know, I think you were on his reply. I guess it's that Paul Holtz is the person.
Yep.
So we
So-
need to get, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
So we need to get specs from Brennan on exactly and I think just like a cut sheet of this is what the gutter looks like. And then whatever, I think he said some of the material for the downspouts, and then just some pictures of what's there now. Hopefully that's all they'll want.
Yep.
You know, I don't know how essential the gutters are. That may be something that needs to wait for phase 2 of this project. But depending on if it has to change, I forget how much wiggle room we had left on that budget.
Yeah, well, let's find out when he can get to work on it. And then maybe we just see if he can give us a proposal for the gutters, or a spec sheet.
Yeah. And it sounds like the CPA is not super interested in any additional funding for this space without a serious intended use from the discussion they've had.
Okay.
I can't find my email, but I think I ballparked like 165,000. The only question is if the intended use of this space is some sort of like a exhibit gallery type space, maybe it doesn't need facilities. If you're only going to be there for 2 hours, it's open a certain limited time. That may be less of a concern as opposed to just making sure that someone can physically get in the building. It's got heat, it's got whatever. It's not going to be occupied constantly.
Right.
Worst case, the town hall's not that far away. Because that's the biggest expense is going to be a tight tank, all the infrastructure, and the addition for the bathroom.
Right.
And I believe just the ramp up the front is doable. It's still, the door's not wide enough, but I think you can get a waiver for that because it's historic.
Right. Right.
I forget what the exact width of those doors are. I think they're not super narrow.
Seemed like they were decent. I wonder if it might be in Armando's plans, if he measured those out.
Yeah. It was an email because I just sent it. Oh, this is it. Maybe. Yeah, 165,000. You figure 10,000 to engineer the tight tank, 20,000 to install it, 5,000 to sort out the well, 5,000 for the design of the bathroom and the ramp, and then based on the old stuff from Armando, probably $100,000 to build the bathroom and the ramp, and then a $25,000 contingency. So that's 165,000. And that's probably underestimating it, unfortunately.
Right.
I think that was the takeaway from the last meeting is they really, at least a couple of them really were curious about the intended use.
Dan, did they have any suggestions as to what they felt would be a good use of that space?
I don't think so. I don't think we really got into that much discussion, but
Well,
I can ask.
all right. If anybody has any ideas, throw them out there.
Well, that's what I was wondering. What is the big deal with trying to get that space? I mean, trying to figure out who should get that space.
So we had a hearty discussion a couple of months ago about should it be used as museum space, for the fire and police and public safety, and there was some kickback about no, it should be used as a children's space, or that would be a waste if it was, because nobody would ever go in the building. And I asked everybody to come back and share some ideas, and we just never picked up the discussion again.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I did hear about the museum for the police and fire, was it?
Right, right.
And then I heard something about maybe vendors or I don't know. There's a lot going on out there.
Yeah. So
I
I
think
don't
it's
know.
less of, sorry, I need to,
Go ahead, Dan.
I think it's less about the specific use and more just about at least the financing aspect. They're not open to spending more money without a plan. Like they don't want to spend $165,000 just so it sits vacant.
I don't blame them. I'd rather have
Um,
I'd rather find a use that doesn't involve a bathroom.
Right, right.
When I
You know,
think potentially those couple uses, and that's maybe another question for John Erickson. If it's a limited opening museum exhibit type space, it may not need a bathroom.
Yeah, I think
right.
that
Maybe we need to address that with the Board of Health. Would they be able to kind of weigh in on that, or do they not
I think
have
it's
any
building
purview?
code
Okay, all right.
in terms of an occupancy permit and what they'd be concerned with. Especially with the public safety museum idea, the proponent of that has a bathroom next door, so it's not a hardship on the person overseeing it.
Right, right.
Mark can just go next door and use his own bathroom. It's just
I
if you had,
know. And back in the day when that was the town records room, that's exactly what they did. They went to 15 Main Street and used the bathroom over there. So,
unless it was going to be like an office or some sort of space that would be occupied much more regularly. I don't know. Some other stuff that probably didn't make it up here. Did you ever find out any more about the boathouse? I guess it's probably too late now because it's buried in snow, but
yeah. No, I haven't connected with Stephen Wagner yet on the boathouse.
it would
I
be
did pull up
nice.
some information. I was going to send him a letter.
It'd be nice to go look at it if we're allowed to do that.
Yep.
Because I'm not sure it makes sense to ask for funding without an idea of what's involved.
Right.
And we probably can use administrative funds. Like if we needed to hire somebody to come in and do some analysis, that might fall. So we might be able to at least do that. Like hire a building inspector to come in for, or something like that. And I don't know. It kind of looks like the roof has caved in on some of these satellite views.
Yeah. Where the chimney stack is, it's compromised. But I definitely think we need to get somebody in there to just with the Wagners and discuss what's going to happen, what their next steps are.
Yeah. Because I think for those that maybe didn't hear it, I think there's a potential interesting use here that this potentially could get used to house the new fireboat. Because it's right on the water.
Do we know how big that boat is?
I don't, but it's a small boat on a trailer. It's tiny. And I think
Where's the
there's
boathouse?
it's here. It's on the lake. It's an old ice house that was owned by the Wagners, and for some reason they retained that and carved off everything else around it. So here, let me zoom way out. This is Lake Nipmuc, if it'll zoom in. And then this is Kinsley Lane off of Taft Ave that's cut off here. And then it's this thing right here.
Oh,
But if this will cooperate. That was 2018, and then this is 25. It's hard to see.
is it actually attached to the water? Looks.
No, there's a little bit of land. There's a small strip of land that's pretty overgrown there.
Yeah.
honestly, I thought if they're using it for storage, you could even figure out a situation where the town takes it, leases it back to them potentially for the amount of money they're paying in property taxes to continue, because I think there's more than enough room in here for multiple things.
Right, right,
Like I think this could be done in a way that doesn't negatively impact our tax revenue. Not that we're getting a whole lot off this property, but
right.
Does that look like it's safe?
It's it's interesting. I mean, it really, it's very cool. I mean, I know there are pieces and parts that are part of the old ice house that little Wayne Wagner used to work at with his dad.
$19,000 valuation. Yeah, well, I think that's the $1 million question. Is it at all salvageable, or is it a total hazard like that barn on Blackstone Street?
Right, right.
Um,
Yeah, and that didn't need to be a total
that actually had
loss.
okay bones. It
Oh, yes,
just
it did.
wasn't worth it to that, and it didn't have the value to justify saving it. But it was all steel framed inside. It just was half, like the roof had half come down. But it had like a barn roof that was just those panels. This has like a real roof.
Right.
Um,
All right, well, let me, I am trying to play catch up with all these things, and I will get
Yeah,
a
I don't- I
letter up
mean-
to Stephen.
I think it's too late to get out there. I mean, with the snow. So I think for CPA, I would probably table this for right now because I don't want to waste their time and not have real numbers.
Right, right. No, definitely. But I mean,
Um,
we should get connected because I mean, they've got to
Yeah.
decide something one way or another. Otherwise, it's just going to collapse.
Well, at a certain point, I would assume the town is going to step in and condemn these properties, but I don't know if
Yeah,
we necessarily do that here, but from a public safety standpoint, that may need to be what's going to happen eventually.
right, right.
Um, I think that's everything. The Civil War monument, the latest update on that is now they're saying it may have to move a few feet, but it can stay in that intersection.
That would be really nice.
What was the last thing I got? Let me just read John's email.
I thought the state
Just-
said they tried to accommodate but couldn't promise anything.
Just had a pre-construction meeting with MassDOT. The Civil War monument at the top of Maple will be moved approximately 10 feet from its current location. I'll keep you updated as the engineer assigned is going to reach out to coordinate. So hopefully it can just stay there because from the people that, I mean, it was just me, John, and Sue Tatro, and nobody really wanted to see it anywhere else.
No, I agree. It should stay there if it can.
Yeah, I do as well.
If only they had had the foresight to say something about that tiny little triangle being taken as parkland when the town took it.
Right.
Oh well.
Dan, what is the name of the gentleman that owns the house behind the monument?
Oh, I don't remember off the top of my head. I think somebody knew him. John, maybe. Is it Maple?
Was it a Carson?
Yeah, it's Carlson, but it's not Sue Carlson. Theodore Carlson. But I think it's different than her family.
And he is also the gentleman that cuts the wood down on Route 16, right? Across from
Yes.
Champneys. Okay. I might try to reach out to him and just
Yeah, I'm curious what the situation is with that house. It says it's 1880, says it has no heat on the second floor. I'm assuming it's got an ancient well and septic. I'm surprised it's
right.
just been sitting vacant.
Ye-
I mean, it's a
Yeah,
nice, I don't know, unfortunately, I mean, it's in the commercial zone, but without utilities, nobody's going to develop it.
thought it would be nice to have septic.
They did. There is progress on this water study project. It may not make financial sense to build it, but at least we have a viable water source, which is very interesting.
Right, right. So, can I jump over to the scenic road bylaw?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So the bylaw review committee is looking to get feedback on two items. One was the demolition delay bylaw, which I am still scratching my head over because I thought all the changes that we worked on with Lonnie had been approved.
Yeah, before you talk, I was going to reply to your email, and then I said, I wonder if it's worth us sending them a letter to basically say something to the effect of, both of those bylaws, demolition delay and historic district, were recently approved and amended, and the commissions see no need to make any changes.
Right,
And
okay.
just, I mean, unless somebody else wants a change, but that's kind of my perspective, is just to make it clear to them that, unless there's some problem that we're not aware of, we're not in favor of changing it.
Right. I can definitely
if
email
you're-
Carl and see if he has any thoughts on that. But the scenic road bylaw, what do we want to do? Should we table that until next 2027? I'm very concerned about the way North Avenue is rolling out these days.
I mean, I think the biggest thing we could do for North Ave is to pursue the local historic district up there.
Yep, yep,
Um, I I think the problem with scenic roads is we need to have a new bylaw that's a trees and stone walls, or whatever you want to call it. I think the scenic road bylaw is limited by the state scenic road statute and can't really do anything outside of road construction. But I also don't know if we've ever really gotten a good opinion on that.
right, right. Maybe what we need to do is we need to take inventory. We need to go around and photograph some of these barn foundations. Some of the, I mean, there are a lot of nooks and crannies along the roadway, and we should probably know where they are and what their purpose was, and to make sure that they don't get destroyed accidentally. I mean, I just saw another tomb on Park Street, which I thought had been demolished years ago, but maybe there are two of them. I just thought it was wild.
No, there's a cemetery over there. It's probably super overgrown.
On Park?
I think it's on Park. That's another.
The one on Lovell is really overgrown, and that's gonna need I think we're gonna try to get a team of people together to get in there and help clean that out.
Yeah, I mean, not to volunteer them. I know the brothers have done some work, but I think they were trying to focus their efforts on Swandale that had more current people in the, but maybe they're done. I don't know how far they got, if there's more work to be done or something.
Right, right.
There have been a few Eagle candidates coming through, and Parks doesn't have a lot of projects. I know Isabella had a few for conservation, but I think they're a few years off. So that might be a good Eagle project to like clean out a specific cemetery.
Right, right.
If we can make a list. Here, I just looked, it was Lexington and Concord so Lexington has like a tree bylaw.
Okay.
And I have to go through this, but I believe it's basically any tree that's got a trunk that's more than 6 inches is considered a public shade tree, even if it's on private property, I'm thinking.
Right.
Any tree on private land with a DBH of 6 inches or greater, blah, 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 located in the setback area, provided it's not hazardous or undesirable.
Right. So the setback area would be the
30 feet
Distance
in their
between the
case.
roadway and what the town is assumed to own, right?
They're defining it as the lot 30 feet into the lot line and 15 feet
wow.
from the sides. So I think it's, you know, I mean, I think that would be, if that's our goal, I think that would be the way to do it, is to have a separate, like some sort of large tree protection and maybe stone wall. I forget the town. Somebody had a stone wall bylaw. And I don't remember who it was.
I know
Maybe it was
Boxborough
both.
had one of the two. I can't remember which one it was when I had
That might be
previously
it.
started to look into it. I had saw all these
Yeah.
emails came through a couple weeks ago. I was in Barbados at the time, so like I'm still
Oh.
between this and work getting caught up with emails, so I didn't mean to not answer.
Oh, no worries, Christina. Everybody needs a break. You took a good, you picked a good time to go. Unfortunately, you came back too soon.
I know.
Yeah, it was a B. It
Uh,
was, I knew it was a B. It was Boxborough. So they have a stone
Okay.
wall. And
All right, so-
let me see, where does it apply to?
We could also check out Salem too, just because they're so historic, and see what they must have parameters, I'm sure.
That's a good idea.
But I think that, because I don't, you know, I forget where the phrase is in the scenic road, where it basically says something effective within construction.
Right, right.
Does the bylaw committee have like a reference to town council? Like we could ask that question? Are they being advised? Like that might be the next step, is to ask them to, like, if we have a technical question about this bylaw, who do we send it to?
Yeah, that's a good question, Dan.
Maybe I could send that to Carl and just see what he says. I mean, you know, we do have some time. I don't know if we have enough time to pull something together for May.
Yeah, you know, if it were my choice, I would spend time inventorying, you know, the stone walls and the stone structures that have, you know, like the foundation for the trolley. You know,
Yeah,
I would hate to see that get demolished. I would love to see the owner donate it back to the town because it's not really a big parcel of land, but you know, things like that, really you would hope are preserved long term, you know. But I
what
think
is
I would rather
that?
spend time doing the inventory and running around and collecting photos and images and dates and things like that, so that we know what we want to protect, what is significant enough to protect. And then I think I would also like to maybe spend the balance of the year working on the North Ave Historic District, so that we're ready to pull the trigger next, not this May, but the following May. I'm very nervous about North Avenue at this point.
Yeah, I think again, most of the work has been done. It's just a matter of pulling it all together. Like it's on the National Register. Um, you know, I think we just need to pick out each property and pull the information about it.
Right, right.
Um,
And then we have to start
Yeah.
scheduling meetings with the homeowners and, explain why we believe that this is important to protect.
the key would be to get some people up there that want to be part of it. I know Deb's up there, but if there's others, you know, and also, you know, have the conversations with, you know, the Lonnie Tinios, and so they understand, like, you know, in his case, a lot of those properties are not really within the public view, other than maybe the one on the road. So maybe if you can get some buy-in from them, that would help, you know, go a long way.
Right, right.
You know, I mean, I guess we're not necessarily concerned with your brand new house that's set way back from the road.
Right. And I'm not so sure that it's a big issue for that side of North Avenue. Although who knows? It's really the opposite side. that is probably,
This- yeah.
questionable.
Well, I think in terms of future development, and I mean, I thought that conversation we had with John Nenart all those years ago at this point was actually not bad. But it'd be
Yeah,
nice to have,
except-
well, they haven't done anything and he doesn't work for them anymore, but I think it would be nice to have this in place before a future subdivision is proposed. So we can at least have
Exactly,
some control over
exactly.
what it's gonna look like.
Yeah, I'm just, you watch the way the land is being, we had the demo permit for the place up on North Avenue, next to Fitzpatrick's, no, Kirkpatrick's house, and oh, anyways, that little house that was there, it looked like a cottage.
Yes.
So with that coming down, we've got open land, access to all the land in the back. We should definitely, figure out how we're going to preserve some of that. And if John Gannon is, working things differently, we need to be aware of that, and the Fabricatis and, other families that own the large landowners. I think getting some feedback from them would be great.
Yeah,
So, all right, who's on board to get that North Ave Historic District ready?
Me.
All right, anyone
Yeah.
else?
All right. Yeah,
All
me
right.
too.
All right.
In the spring.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. You mean when if the snow disappears. All right.
well, so I think, I mean, I don't know if I'm a little nervous about demo delay in historic district. I wonder if I should send them a letter and just say, listen, I don't know. I know that was a concern that came up before. Like, they're not necessarily looking to amend it, or we don't know.
I'm on the
Right.
general bylaw review committee. I think Christine, you're still on it?
No, become the fall, my work schedule became so crazy and I was working like
Oh.
such late hours. I couldn't do all the like every other week meetings
Oh,
anymore.
okay.
So I withdrew in the fall.
Oh, all right. I'm on it, and there's really no rush per se to get these through. It's up to you. If you have more work to do, leave it till fall. Or if you have to rush it through, then start moving.
Yeah, because are they still, Karen, are they still going in order?
Yes.
Just like moving through? Okay, yeah. So it's probably like they just hit the point where ours were up next.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, take Council on Aging, for example. Theirs is archaic. It had to be changed all around, and we're still working on that. So it's up to you, basically, what you want to do. I mean, if you feel you have to rush it through, then let's do that. If you feel you can wait, just tell them you can wait. You need to think about it. You need to do some stuff before.
I mean, we just did, so demo delay was 2009 and we revised it in 22. And then district is pretty much the state law, just we adopted it and took out some things. And we've made changes there. So I think those two are fine. If we have changes, we usually bring them up as things come up. And then, yeah, it's just these new ones that, would definitely be worth trying to do the research. And I don't know, I haven't had a chance to talk to her. I know there was interest in something to do with land clearing too, which would tie into the trees, but
Oh, I think I remember, I think it was Isabella that brought that up.
yeah. I don't know if that's still a thing. I know that they're revising that wetland reg, so that may be something they can do on their own. I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't rush them for like at least the new new ones? Because isn't anything on going into May town meeting need to be done by like early April?
Absolutely.
So we'd only
Right.
have like a month realistically. So I feel like it'd be safe to just wait to really iron it out.
Yeah,
I
well, and
agree.
like Hattie said, go out and do some research on what specific things we're really concerned about protecting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wonder if that, like you mentioned, the trolley layout, that might be something that could be protected through a preservation restriction, depending on where it's located.
Right.
Might be worth, I don't know which properties they are or where it is. Isn't there? There's something over by the lake, isn't there?
Yeah, it's over by the lake. And there is a wedge of rock that looks like it was cut into. And I don't know if the trolley went through there or if there was a walking path. I mean, it's all very overgrown and, trees have fallen into it, but I think it'd be curious or interesting to kind of go scope it out.
I would love to see that.
I know they're
Yeah.
building up there, and I don't know the exact. Let me flip the satellite. I know there's like what involvement Concom has, but maybe they're open to working with the town if it would, help solve some other problems for them. It's this weird offshoot off of Nipmuc Drive. Is that what we're talking about?
No, it's right on 16.
On 16.
Yeah, it's about across from Nipmuc Drive, maybe a little further, closer to Alicantes.
Never.
It's a triangular wedge. Do you want me to tell you who owns it?
Please.
Do I need to tell you who owns it?
Nope.
Can you guess?
Oh, damn it.
Yep, you got it.
Oh. God.
Well, but now might be the time to have, they're thinking about development over there that, there's something the town wants that perhaps we can work together on whatever they're going to do. I guess it's a potential bargaining chip.
Could be.
I don't know what I'm trying to compare like the street view to see if there's anything
Is it visible from the road, Kathy?
really visible.
The foundation is, yeah. You'll see 4 stacks of stones and then some additional stacks. I'll send you a picture of the trolley stop so you can kind of identify.
That triangle's right opposite Nipmuc Drive, but I'm not seeing. I mean, it's just Google, so you can't. It's just whatever they took on that day.
Yeah, there's a lot there's a lot of tree cover in there too.
Yeah.
So
But that might be I'll have to ask Dylan what the plan is. That might be a good thing to bring to them if they plan to develop that and say, hey, as a condition of this, we'd like to see this small area restored.
so where are they planning to develop?
I have no idea. I've heard rumors that there's future plans for subdivisions in this area, but
I thought
I
they were
think-
already working on that.
there's
No,
no
that's on Hartford Ave West.
there's no utility, so it limits what they can build. I think this area in particular is all. I mean, there's a reason this hasn't been built yet.
Yeah. You think it's
So
going to
it's
be another
very-
steel building?
Rocky and no, this isn't. Well, it's this one. It's funny. They own this triangle, but nothing else, and one house.
Right.
But the back parcel is owned by somebody else. This is owned by somebody else.
Yeah, I'm sure, Dan, it's all in negotiation.
So I don't know what the future is, but there's weirdness up here too. I looked at one of these houses. There's like a road in the back and some sort of private like easement right of way that actually you can see it kind of on the topography map. Kind of interesting. Like, I don't know what actually exists.
I mean, is there no other land in Mendon they can develop? I'm sorry.
Really? How about we go back to
Well,
Red?
I think, you know, the market being what it is, anywhere that is buildable. But I also don't see a lot of building happening right now. It's just a lot of speculation and ideas and
Right, right. Yeah, I don't think we should be approving anything until all the proposals are completed.
that's the impression it seems like even stuff that was approved is very, very slow going. And I don't know if that's just the current, you know, economy or what, but I think they,
Dan, you don't happen to know if a proposal is put on the table, if it has to be reapproved, if it sits for too long? I mean, is
oh,
it, I mean, I think a lot of towns have run into problems with that. If they approve things and they expire,
I'm not an expert. I know ZBA, I think, is 2 years. Planning might be 2 years. I believe they did or are doing something at the state to preempt what it has to do with housing.
yep,
In terms of encouraging development, I think they're looking to kind of ease up some of these restrictions. But I think just as simple as pulling a permit or putting some survey stakes in the ground counts as doing work. I think the bar is pretty low.
wow.
Like Dylan would know more. I don't know exactly. You know, I mean, like to give them a little bit of credit, I would assume like the Hastings Street project, they're probably still waiting on DEP for permitting because it takes forever to permit a new
Right.
public water supply. So there may be stuff happening. But yeah, I don't really know.
I think I might ask her just out of curiosity. It would be
Yeah.
nice to know how long some of these projects can be sat on. Our demolition delay, it's a 2-year cutoff.
Right. We put
correct?
kind of on the new bylaw, we have more of a process in place to basically say, yeah, come to us when you're actually ready to do the work.
Right. So at this stage of the game,
Actually, no, I think we revised it. Let me look at what we did. I think that was our problem. And I think we changed it to say, if you come to us to pull it off the list, then it's off the list. I don't know. Let me find our bylaw. I don't remember. We have so few of them.
if we're going to suggest a change
You're frozen.
and we approve a demolition, I think they've got 2 years to do something. Otherwise, they have to come back.
Yeah, let me see if this will open. I know that was in the old one, but I think there was something about the new one that we had to change, and I don't remember the specifics. That hearing. Demolition delay approvals shall expire 2 years from the date of conclusion of the hearing. If a demolition permit has not been issued, that's okay. That's what it was. I'm confusing two things. You can come to us and take your property off the inventory, and then you're off the inventory. But if you're on the inventory and you come to us for a hearing, you have 2 years to do your business.
All right, so technically, Dan, we have 2 properties that are now officially off the demolition delay approval, right?
Well, one of them was before we made this amendment, I believe. And I don't know the situation that, I mean, if you're thinking of the corner of Hartford Ave West, I can almost guarantee we're gonna need to involve council on that one. That one's gonna get ugly. If,
Okay, because Park Street is
Oh.
also gonna be an issue
Has
as
Park-
well.
have they done anything at Park Street?
No, no. And that's been, I think we're like 5 years into the approval on that one.
77 Park, right?
No, no,
Right.
no, not 77. It would be, I'm sorry, Pleasant Street. The Starrett, farm, the pig
What
farm.
happened on
It's
Pleasant?
right next to Tim's house.
Oh, 58. Is this it? I don't remember doing anything. Public hearing. No. I have nothing in my files about Pleasant, so I think that's really old.
Yeah, it's definitely very old.
You don't know what the property is, do you?
It's the Starrett Pig Farm. It's owned by Tim Hardy. It's right next door to his property.
I have to find the address to find it.
23, maybe?
Um, 20? Is that
Might
it?
be.
Twenty Pleasant Street in Mendon. What's still there? Because he had a subdivision plan or something up there, right? Yeah, here's the
Uh,
house. It's all coming. It's coming back to me now. All those. That was like years ago.
all the sheds are still there. There's a house and a side structure, several of
Yeah.
them, I believe.
Tell if the historic, that green thing is still there.
It
I'm looking
is.
on the
I
wrong side
drive
of the
by
road.
it every day.
Yeah, so maybe we need to go back and look at what was approved there and check in with what he's doing. You know, I know with building permits, there's a lot of, it's like they don't really expire.
Right.
That's what John was saying. Like they can just like you know, pick up a handful of dirt and technically you're still doing work.
True. And he
Um,
has done earth moving over there,
I
so
don't know. I'm trying to find on the satellite, but it doesn't want to load. Yeah, I'll have to dig through. I have no idea what we've done over there. I don't remember.
okay.
Maybe if you have anything, I didn't see it in my files.
All right. Okay.
All
Well,
right.
all right. So we agreed off record that we will table the scenic road bylaw, correct?
All right, that's my takeaway.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay. All right.
Will
And then
you let him know, or do you want me to?
I will,
check
I'll
in?
reach out. But do you want to get some clarification from him?
Well, maybe I can shoot them a separate email about that and just say, hey, if you want to just let them know the current status, then I'll send them another email and just say, hey, you know, we have some questions. You know, do you have a process by which we can get some advice on current bylaws?
Yeah. Okay.
Um, interesting. Sorry, I'm looking at the satellite still. Yeah, that's interesting. That thing is still there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's only moved dirt around back there, but he hasn't taken the house down. It was in pretty good shape when I was there. It's just
Maybe-
historic.
Maybe it can
Where
be
is
say.
it?
Maybe he's thought about it again, and maybe that's worth saying. Hey, do you think it's worth just restoring it as is?
Right, right.
Could build onto the back and keep the front section, and
One point he had mentioned that he might like to, he and his son wanted to, have an apple orchard there. And God knows that the ground's got to be really fertile there with all those pigs.
I just don't know
So-
what I seem to remember that being the property that had all the fence posts and barrels of rocks because they couldn't put them in the ground.
Right, right.
Um, I don't know. All right. I think is that.
All right.
Do we want to
Shall
try
we
and pick out a
wrap?
date while we're here?
Yeah, why don't we do that? Going into March.
Tentatively sometime in March, I guess. I can't do that if we're sticking with Mondays for now. Although I heard a rumor that conservation might be switching days, so we might need to reevaluate just in terms of space. But I can't do anything the week of the 30th.
What about the
I could probably-
23rd?
That should work for me.
That way all of the Irish people in this group, can plan and participate.
The 23rd
fine
works
for
for
me.
me.
All
Works
right.
for me.
Deb?
Yep, works for me.
All right. All right, we're on.
All right.
I move to adjourn.
You don't have to do that.
Oh, that's right. All right, fine. Then see you later. How's that?